All right, hello. So we are going to be talking today about how to use your textbook and take Cornell notes at the same time. Now, I am going over this because in the past, I have noticed that there are sort of two styles of note taking that sometimes take place when we're taking notes in science. And one is some students feel like they have to write every single thing down. And so they end up copying the entire textbook, which number one means your homework takes you a really long time. And number two, which means your notes are pretty much useless. If you're going to use them to study, you may as well just go study from the textbook since you wrote everything down. So we don't want to do that. Too much is not good. But not enough is also not good. We want to make sure that you are taking notes that give you enough information that your actual notes are a great study tool at the end. So there's a balance. And so we're going to go over a bit of an example right now to make sure that you kind of have an idea of what you should be doing as you're taking notes. You'll notice that I'm demonstrating using my computer and typing them, but you will not be doing this because you are required to write your notes by hand on a piece of paper. So, but it's much more difficult for me to demonstrate that over a recording. So I'm just going to be typing them to show you sort of what information goes where and about how much information you need to be writing. All right, so we're just going to start off up here at the top by putting in the date. Today is August 1st. And the title for this one is going to be the same title as the start of my chapter here. Oops. Okay, so now I have a date and a title. I'm going to go ahead and start. So of course, the first and foremost, most important thing that you're doing is actually reading. The worst thing that you could do is just skim through and try and find the highlighted things and write them over here, because the goal here is for you to actually understand what you have read, right? This is your first chance to learn the material that's going to be expected of you. So it's important that you're not just like zipping through and trying to find the vocabulary words and writing them in and being like, check that box, homework is done. Right? The whole purpose of homework is for you to actually learn something. And in order to do that, you're going to have to read. So you're going to read through the section. So a common question I get is, well, what if there's a section heading and there's nothing highlighted in terms of vocabulary words? Well, you know, these are your notes. So you get to decide, do I want to write this heading in here and give a little one sentence summary? Because I feel like that's really important information that may show up on the test. Or do I feel like this is background information that's just going to be good to know, but I don't need to actually have it, you know, mentally recorded for later on. So kind of your call on that as you read through these different sections. And then when you find yourself coming across a piece of information that's highlighted, I try to use this highlighting method to show you what you should be making sure gets into your notes. You definitely want to make sure that gets in there. So our first section heading right here is the age of Earth. That's our section heading. And in this case, it's unusual, but not terribly uncommon that you may be writing something down that is not necessarily a vocabulary word. In this case, it's sort of some information. So I'm just going to put the age of Earth as my vocabulary word here. And then that information goes on my left column. And then on my right column on this side, I'm going to put the information that's in the book. Earth is between 4.4 and 4.57 billion years old. Now, more information might be merited. You can read through your section there, and maybe there's an example, or maybe there's some other information that you want to have go along with this definition. That's up to you. All right, so now that I've got the section heading and the vocabulary word and its definition for this section, I can go ahead and continue reading. So I'm reading through and I see there's a new section heading here. So I put that on the left side. and then I put the vocabulary word that I'm asked to define. And sometimes you'll see it sort of repeats that way, and other times it won't. So go ahead and repeat it if it's repeating. So I read through it and I make sure that I understand it. Scientists use the geologic timescale to record events that have happened throughout history, right? So maybe I'm not just writing the exact words that are here. Maybe I'm making a summary of things. So used to record geologic history. And then maybe I might even want to include something like this, including earthquakes, volcanoes, and so forth. And I might continue to finish with this list. So you kind of get the idea here as I'm going through. Most important thing is that I'm actually reading everything, and then I'm going back and I'm writing the section heading, and I'm writing the vocabulary words along with any examples. Not so much in this chapter, but sometimes you'll find that a highlighted section may say, draw this diagram in your notes. So you would draw whatever diagrams, or write this formula in your notes, and you would write that in your notes. The other thing that I would recommend is to come up with a system that you like that allows you to format. So since you're writing your notes by hand, it might look a little different than what I'm doing, but maybe instead of bold and italicized type stuff, you're color coding things to make them stand out, to help you remember the different terms or headings. So you can use colored pencils, highlighters, and markers to help you make your notes have a little bit of definition and color. I highly recommend that, especially if you're doing a diagram. Okay, so we continue to read through everything, and then we get to the end. And just so you know, CK-12 just sort of automatically creates these little links to different things. These are not words that I'm expecting you to write in your notes or anything. They automatically do that in CK-12. But if you ever wanted to get more information about that stuff, these are clickable links. So some of them you can just mouse over and it'll give you information, and other ones you have to click on it, it'll take you to another site. So if you come across a word that's green like that and you want to know more about it, you can certainly use the tools that are there for you to figure that out. All right, so some cool videos are often embedded in here, so I recommend watching those. And then you get to the summary, right? So definitely read through the summary. It's going to give you an idea of what information you should have at minimum gleaned from reading through the book. And then see if you can answer the review questions. Go through and say, okay, how is an index fossil used to identify a period in time? Think about it for a minute. And then if you can't answer the question, you can go back and find the answer. Or you can test your note-taking skills and look through your notes and see if you were able to get the answer. So in the end, you're going to write a quick summary that sort of summarizes the entire chapter. So this could be, 1 to 3 sentences. One's probably not enough. I would say maybe 3 to 4 sentences that just sort of summarizes everything that was in the chapter. And of course, the summary length will depend upon how long the chapter is, right? Some chapters are longer and include more topics than others. So you could look through this summary to kind of give you the right idea, right? We're looking at the geologic time scale and how long Earth has been in existence, and that we can tell that information by looking at the fossil record, and specifically at these index fossils that allow us to understand exactly what time period a certain layer of rocks occurred, because these index fossils are found inside them. So you can write yourself up as a couple sentence summary in this section. Notice you only need one summary for the whole set of notes, not one for the bottom of every page as you're writing them by hand. I often see students will try and include a summary at the bottom of each page. And if your notes take more than one page, you just need to include a summary at the end. All right, and then lastly, questions. What questions do you have about this chapter as you were reading through it? What did you come up with? Like, I never knew that happened. Why did that happen? or I read through that a couple times and I still don't understand XYZ. And these are questions that you're going to be able to get answered in class next time we meet. So try to give at least 3 questions at the bottom of your notes each time. Okay, that's it for this section. Thanks so much for watching and good luck taking your notes.